Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today we're going to be talking about deck number 296, Grand Warlord Radha. Now, Radha was in the Time Spiral storyline, and she is actually half Keldan warrior, half elf. She rose up, she took power during that storyline, and we meet her again in Bells and Locks fighting pits in this story. She is amazing, and she is not to be messed with. 3/4 haste, and you get some mana when. Now, old Radha, you just got mana when she attacked. But now, each creature that attacks, you get a mana, which is ridiculous. There's some combos in there. We'll get to those later. But let's look at it right now. First off, the first thing that I wanted to do, so I tried to sort these in order of my thought process. So here we go. First off, the color fixing, because we are playing two colors. Yeah, we've got access to green, but I didn't want to, just crush a whole bunch of land search. So, I did 3 or 4 of those color fixing. Now, speaking of the land search, yes, I did put a rampant growth and a cultivate in there. But growing rights, because obviously in a combat-centric deck, I'm going to be playing with tons of creatures. So I thought the growing rights would fit nicely. Now, Manamorphose is the 2 colors. It is a little bit of color fixing. It draws you a card. It's not bad. I mean, it's not a storm deck by any means, but Manamorphose is pretty good. Of course, Frontier God I love this card. I mean, you're just going to fetch a land every turn. You're going to rampant growth every turn. Yeah, a little overcosted, dies to literally everything, but that's fine. As long as you get, 2 to 3 lands, you're probably getting value out of it. I don't know. And then I went, this is what we're wanting to do. We're wanting to produce mana. We're wanting to have bodies on the table. So I was like, Llanowar Elf, Finhorger Elf. Then I remembered the Zerta. Not only do you get mana, it hurts everybody else at the table. So it's beautiful. So I decided how deep I could go down this mana elf deal, because Radha is an elf. So apparently Wirewood Elf, check this out. Wirewood Elf, exact same card as, and of course here is original Radha, back when she was young and trying to prove herself. And of course we got Elf Mom, because it really started at this point. When I made the decision to put Elf Mom in there, I was like, I do have a lot of elves, and so I kind of started leaning toward elf tribal, even though it's not per se tribal, because there's a lot of other creatures in here, but the elf theme does help quite a bit. Of course, the druid, since I was already committing to the elves, I don't have a lot of the combat-centric elves, it's just the mana. The Finhorn Wood Elves. Now we get into other elves that do not produce mana. Blood Braid Elf is buy one, get one free. I really like it. Yeah, the free is random, but you know what? I still kind of like it. Rince-Run Vanquisher, of course, the buy one, get one free elf. Always good, because the more tokens that you have, the more bodies you have attacking, the more mana you're getting. Since we are producing some mana, we might as well have some doggies help us fight. And then we're getting mana from them. Of course, just in case we, to run across that big old flyer. Nettle Sentinel, I'll be honest, I don't really have a plan for it, but it's just so combo-tastic that I had to put it in there. Timberwatch Elf, This can get amazing. Essence Warden, Elvish Vanguard. Now I'm starting to like, okay, I need bodies. I need bodies. The Elvish Lyrist is a body, but it also, I mean, it doubles as your enchantment removal as well. Wirewood Chandler. I love this guy. He's often overlooked because he costs 4. Let's face it, in elves, does that really matter? Because it's any one color. So you can tap this guy for a ton of red. Now, Fierce Empath is obviously pretty ballin'. We'll get to creature cards that cost 6 or more in a minute. Heedless One, just a big beater with trample. Feral Hydra is amazing. Yeah, anybody can use it, but the amount of mana that we're going to be generating, we're probably going to be using it. Speaking of mana, Ant Queen. This may be some of the cheapest 2-mana colon creature. And if that creature attacks, you're automatic. If it attacks twice, you've gotten 2 mana with Radha, so it's free. So, I mean, well, I say it's free. You get back your down payment on that creature, I guess is what I was saying. Primordial Sage. Might as well draw some cards because we are definitely playing some dudes. Speaking of dudes, Acidic Slime is great removal. I was lucky enough to pull a foil. Seedborn Muse. You know, I've never really looked at her hair before now. Huh. I guess the foil brings that out. But anyway. She's really good with mana elves, of course. I don't have to tell you all that. Now, yeah, we got a ton of mana. We might as well have some Hydras that our elves can, like, ride or, sick on somebody. But remember that creature card that costs 6 or more? Here we go. Savage Ventmaw. And y'all know what's coming next. Aggravated Assault. Now, really, Savage Ventmaw is not even necessary unless your ground team can't get through. Because Radha, once you've got Radha and 4 other, you can reliably attack with 5 creatures, you can attack infinitely. Because you're going to get 5 mana from Radha's ability. You're going to use that 5 to filter through Aggravated Assault. Rinse and repeat. Now, that is a perfect world where nobody has answers, and let's face it, most of the time we don't live in that world. So, anyway, I've also got, Hellkite Charger, which is a more expensive version, and he can die, and then the one-shot Relentless Assault. Now, let's look at some of the other stuff. I have Elvish Guidance. Of course, that's going to be a ton of mana. And elves pair up and go to the prom. Double the amount of elves, which makes sense, right? For every elf you got, brings his prom date. Alpha Status and Shared Animosity, just good tribal cards. Vitalize, I think Vitalize is a great instant. It is, in this deck, or in elf decks, Vitalize is a lot like a High Tide or a Bubbling Muck in the fact that it's just going to double this turn, because you're going to tap all your dudes for mana, then you're going to Vitalize and untap them all. I have used this as a combat trick. Yes, I'm tapped out. Swing into me? Oh, okay then. Wirewood Pride's also a... Now, the idea behind the Wirewood Pride is we're wanting to try to use this during our super turns where we just attack everybody 15 times, because it does say until end of turn. The until end of turn effect's pretty cool. Overrun's going to give them all trample and biggish. So, now, Nature's Will, in a perfect world, we would have Nature's Will out when we did our huge turn, because, oh man, you just tap all their lands and then untap all your lands. so you can keep going. I'm not exactly certain why Hurricane's in that slot. I mean, it's in the deck. It's good because you need a way to kill your flyers, and it kind of doubles as player removal, too. Helix Pinnacle's an alternate win condition because, you know, why not? There are times when you just can't swing through with dudes, you know, if they're pillow forting it up. Now, Elves and Seedborn Muse and Mistress Helix. Yeah, I'll admit it. This is kind of being that guy. But if you can potentially lock everybody out of the game with those cards. Because you're going to tap your elves to get the mana to tap down all their lands during their upkeep. And then Seedborn is going to let you do it to everybody. But unless you are like absolutely scared of everybody, obviously you're blue player or you're one that poses the biggest threat to you. But I guess these are the tools that could be misused into being that guy. War Cadence. I like me some War Cadence now. The deck is mana-centric, and notice this doesn't say, well, you can't really notice anything because this Joker's fuzzy. It doesn't say target player. It just affects all creatures. So the deck is very mana intensive, so you can actually pump 5-6 mana into this, and all of a sudden nobody can block unless they pay 5 mana for each blocker. Wow. I think I actually put this in place of the Goblin, War Drums. Because Goblin War Drums, it's cool and all, don't get me wrong. But I'm going to try out War Cadence this time. Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blast because Cyclonic Rift ruins my day. I got a little bit of tokens, got a little bit of board presence, got all these elves, got all the... Aww. Song of Frail Eyes turns every creature you got, even your tokens and whatnot, into, you know, any color elves. And then, if we can time this right, Vigilance, Trample, Indestructible on the super turn. Now, granted, that does take some planning. I'm not running a Power Conduit in here. By the way, Power Conduit was like a quarter forever until Dominaria was spoiled. And now check out the price. I don't know what it is, but Power Conduit, you can control your sagas to a certain extent. You can perpetually be on one. But anyway, that'd be great for the super turn. Of course, some removal and the Desert Twister. I figure Desert Twister's fine in this deck. It's 6 mana, but mana's kind of what we're doing. Naturalize, Broken Bond. Yeah, I know y'all are seeing Broken Bond quite a bit for me, but I love this card. This is exactly what I want to be doing. I want to be destroying your artifacts or enchantments and getting a free land drop for my trouble. Of course, last but not least, I have a Hull Breach. Buddy of mine, let him borrow a deck. This is a funny story about Hull Breach. Let him borrow a deck because obviously I have extras to spare. And it was a red-green deck. And I don't remember the board state, but Hull Breach would have solved the problem and kept whoever the player in the lead was from winning. And he asked me, Brian, is there a Hull Breach in here? And I was like, I don't know, probably. And he finds a tutor or something. He looks through the deck, and he just looks at me in disgust and says, Brian, there's no Hull Breach in this deck. Why? Yeah, a couple months later, he gives me a Hull Breach. So, obligatory Hull Breach. See if I got any cool lands here that really matter. I do have the Rogue's Passage, of course. Y'all know I'm rocking it. Now, I am run the 2 lands that do become dudes. Because they are till end of turn effects. And if we can have that mana and have that super turn. Why not? That's what I've got for Radha. I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. We are getting really close to that deck number 300. I have a special deck in mind for it. I need one more card. By the way, it's not Ugaros. I got my Liliana's Caress. But it's a deck I've been working on for the better part of 5 years. Anyway, appreciate you watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But right now, we're going to shuffle and cut.